Okay, so Emmanuel Hall, vlog number 1. So, this is just like, this section is just us like moving into Emmanuel Hall and then what we did from there. So, one of the very first things we did was watch a Supernatural run through to decide on how we wanted the dance trousers, so that obviously it would be so that they could dance properly. We had a couple, Bex brought in a couple examples from home that we could try on the legs and see how it looked and see how their movement worked in it, and figuring out which pair we wanted for the final design so that we have the right amount of skin exposure but they still got the full movement, and it will cover the knee pads that the dancers need. So yeah, that's one of the first things we did. We also had our final design meeting with Nige. So this consisted of us sitting around a table showing the designs we've got, and discussing them as a whole, discussing what Nige thinks of them, whether we can get them, discussing what Nige thinks of them, whether we can get them signed off, etc, etc. So we had a couple problems with that, but I'll leave that to the problem solving bit at the end. But yes, that one wasn't, Nige wanted sketches, we didn't have that, so our next thing was making sketches for that. And one of the things I found was trying to not take that to heart, not taking, oh, he doesn't like the mood boards, well, because they're mood boards, they're not real sketches. So what, not taking it personally, remaining professional and being like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And that was something I think I did to a certain extent. I was, I think, running on little sleep, so I couldn't, so I was being overly emotional, but I still managed to be like, yeah, okay, alright, fine, and deliver the sketches later on that week when they needed to be delivered. So, yeah, it was a test of professionalism, and I was halfway there. So, halfway meeting a target? So other things we did was, I had a chat with Rosie, and we needed to put aside makeup designs for a minute to focus on the costumes first, and then we could focus on makeup. And my biggest worry was with the budget, because we had £1,000, which is a budget, it's fine, but I was worried that makeup would get left to the very end and I would be stressed doing it and be stressed buying it with little money. And Rosie said, well, even if that is the case, that's what you'll have to do. That's the decision that the team is making, that the head of the team, Bex, is making. So we need to leave aside the makeup, and really focus on working as a team, putting aside the selfish thing and being like, yeah, okay, that's being scrapped for now. Which I was a little upset with at first, but then I had, once again, the professional thing. I thought, yeah, I know none of these actors are going to go on stage just makeupless. I know I'm going to have the chance to do it. I just need to stop freaking out about it and focus on what's more important right now, which is making these costumes and getting them made, because that's what the creative director wants to see first. So that was another thing, was figuring my way out around that, and then moving on with moving on with professionalism that we look for when we're working, obviously. Another thing with that, another thing we did that week then was getting our absolute final designs down with sketches and all. So we had another meeting, maybe later on that week or the next week, I can't remember, with Nige, where we all showed our final designs, and we sat down and showed it, and he signed off nearly every single one of them, which was really great. It was great to be able to take our notes from our director, work on that feedback, and then bounce back in, be able to be like, yeah, okay, I understand. Now I've got this new design ready to go that fits your brief more, and you can see a more clear picture of what you're looking for. So once we had those final designs, started on pricing, finding actual sources for it, and writing up concept lists of everything we needed so that we had a clear way of seeing how our costumes were and seeing what we needed. We also visited the Northcott after we had our concept designs and budgets to see what sort of things we could, our concept lists and budgets, to see what things we could borrow from the Northcott, because they were kind enough to open up their costume rooms for us. So that was a case of rifling through as quickly as we can, using a keen eye to be able to pick out what we need, and being quick decision making to be like, no, I don't need that, or yeah, we can take that back and pop it on a mannequin, and if we use it we do, and if we don't we don't. We also grabbed a couple pieces for inspiration for the moon, which we didn't have because it was quite last minute, the costume decision is it. So Nige and Bex took that for them, like, to do themselves, to focus on, so we could focus on the groups we already had, but still like getting our creative input, which was really valuable. I think it was really nice to be able to work all together as a team, have a voice for something, but not feel worried about that something because it wasn't our responsibility. So really pulling in with those ensemble skills, especially in the Northcott, being able to go up the stairs and pull something out and be like, is this okay for your costume? And be like, oh my god, yeah, I hadn't seen that. And then, okay, put it on the rail then, we can all use, you know, you can use it for your mechanical, it's fine, and stuff like that. And also working with the budget and getting our final designs finally signed off. So that's what we were doing that week. And then my targets that week, why do I keep saying week? Targets for this small section was getting designs signed off after the first meeting. I wanted to get them signed off as quickly as possible so I could start work on them and meet what the creative director was looking for. Another thing was work back off the director's notes, which I definitely did. Saying our sketches were the final designs were too mood-boardy, that we needed clear sketches, and that he wanted to see, like with polyquints for example, he wanted to see like the clear figure and the shapes that we were talking about with the power and the like bossiness around it, and wanting to see that with the waistcoat and the skirt, and seeing like the power like I was talking about, and that was much easier to see. I'll leave the example of the two designs I have below, but it was much easier to see when it was an actual sketch of it, as opposed to just like a couple pictures pulled together. Oh, another thing, a target I had after our first design meeting was to stop taking things to heart, because I didn't want to have an emotional moment anytime someone went, no, that's not good enough, you need to come up with something else. And I think, once again, that was another one I really took on and started working towards. I think, for example, later on in that week, Nige would simply be like, oh no, we're not doing clown makeup for that anymore, or whatever it was, or no, I don't want to see the makeup right now. Like, yeah, okay, that's fair, this is what the design is anyway. Okay, so then problems this week. I've already spoken about this one was the first design meeting. Nige was unhappy with the first things. He offered to take our individual mechanicals off of us because he worried it was too much work at the time. So there was talk of that for a week, and we discussed it as a team outside of meeting time, how we really didn't want that, how we felt we were the costume team and we were the ones that needed to be doing all the costumes. So we were like, we're going to fight to get these back. So in the next meeting, we all had our final designs, and Nige went, yeah, okay, I can see concepts here and I'm happy for you to have the mechanicals back. So that was problem solving, to reschedule that meeting and do better. Another one was the makeup, chat with Rosie to be more professional and work as a team member, to put my own preferences below the importance as the team and for the project as a whole. And then the last problem solving was to find trousers suitable for the dancers, which we solved by putting them on them in rehearsals and letting them see how they dance in them, hearing the opinions of the dancers and the dance lecturers to make sure we were hitting something that would be perfect for all of them to work on, something that they could all do really well, something they were all comfortable with, and something that fit what Catherine and Emma had in mind when they were looking at the dancers. And they suggested a pair that we had in the first place, and they really liked that pair, so that's the one we went with. So yeah, and we decided we could just make them ourselves instead of sourcing them. Well, we, Kieran and Alan, could. But yes, that's that was this week's section. So I feel like this week was a lot of this section was a lot of overcoming own personal things, like own personal prejudgments or preferences and really coming together as a team, as an ensemble. I've said this so many times, but it's really true. It's like, it's the thing about being a performing arts student. It's really being able to work as a team, but also still having moments where you come out as an individual. So working together as a team and deciding, yeah, we want these mechanicals, but then all individually going off and making those designs and taking that responsibility on ourselves, like professional adults, which is what we all did, and we all pull out really well. So yes, I'm just checking. Yeah, so that was our first section in Emmanuel Hall. It was really exciting getting down there, getting things ready to go we named our room the costume dungeon because it was underground, but getting the dungeon really ready to go and ready to house us for the next couple of weeks. And making that space ours and exploring together costumes up in the Northcote and working on ourselves as individuals but also as a team. Woo!